Those who know me best would say I'm more than a bit antisocial. And they may not understand it, but I'm very lucky to have friends that sort of put up with it for whatever reason. It's just that I'm a homebody. It's where I'm the happiest, the focused and most creative, the most secure, mentally. This is where I'm free from the sharp objects and the craziness inflicted out there, in the asylum, reality, the real world, whatever you want to call it. It affords me the opportunity to return, regroup, recharge, after the attack of another bad day. That sounds dramatic, but when you feel things in extremes, and you're prone to panic attacks, every bad day is survived by the skin of your teeth. You know, if I were a smart man with the means, I would build a mighty hideout. A headquarters of sorts. One that would afford me all the time I needed to stop every bad day for my friends, everyone, myself. But I'm no architect, fortunate son, or hero. All I can do is dream and stand in awe of the headquarters that occupy my fandoms. I never thought I'd say this, but cheers to those who bullied me in elementary school. Because you see, without them, I would have never come to the conclusion that life to a certain degree is about stopping the monsters. And because of that belief, the Monster Squad Clubhouse made this list without a second thought. So maybe it's not the most sophisticated structure on this list. It is, after all, just a treehouse, out in the open, without any real defenses. And Dracula did blow it to bits by the end of the film, but these things just add to its charm. It was decked out in wall-to-wall horror movie posters lit by lanterns and had a pretty sweet view. But it seems to me that the real treasure would have been found in the conversations that the squad had up there. A garage is more than a place where you keep the family Dodge. Generations before mine believed it to be a place men could go to escape their wives. Just until they fell asleep. The idea was expanded upon and perfected in the 90s by a character no one thought would amount to anything. Well, joke's on the television censors and critics, because that character became a pop culture legend, one that stands to this day as my all-time favorite television idol. Al Bundy. His garage became the meeting place for the National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood, aka No Ma'am. Once they started holding meetings in that garage, it took on like a town hall, rest stop kind of a vibe, with a physical challenge element thrown in. Al's Garage is where men followed their hearts, had some laughs, organized, and drew up battle plans of what we now call living their best life. So tell me, that in itself, even by today's standards, is that so wrong? The next entry bears the initials DIY because it was established with that method. Heroes have been taking the DIY approach to their headquarters as far back as the Robin Hood legend, where he and his merry men set up shop in Sherwood Forest. DIY yields the greatest reward when you lack the means to afford any kind of affordable housing. The price is always right. And that's what makes this entry so special. It didn't require a small fortune. Just some unused space, kind of, sort of, donated by the city of New York. After a few upgrade components designed and installed by one nerd's genius, boom, a fixer-upper perfect for a mutant family. It was totally awesome, spacious and cozy, complete with a living room, a sometimes fully stocked kitchen, 5 bedrooms, a workshop, and a dojo for the entire family. It's pitch perfect, as long as you're a Ninja Turtle. The Turtles have been rebooted a time or two at this point, and each version has its own unique take on the lair. By putting it on this list, let it be known that I took all versions into account, even the current one, which I'm not too fond of.
Bullshit.
It's just such a cool idea to have them live in a place that literally connects them to anywhere they'd want to go, or wherever the adventure takes them. Unlike the Monster Squad treehouse, I fought the urge to put this on the list. I felt like anyone who watched this video who knew me would see it coming. What pushed it over the edge for me was the fact that while it is a moving base of operations, that doesn't make it a safe place 100% of the time. That might not be a trait unique to this headquarters as far as fandom is concerned, but it's unique to this list. And that was the spark I needed to say go with your instincts. Because the fact that it's not a safe place all the time adds to the drama. Time and again, monsters and villains have stormed the castle, so to speak. These creatures called the Boneless, who I've run into a time or two, screwed with its dimensions in relative time and space. And once there was a malevolent entity named House that infiltrated and possessed it, sort of like Pazuzu possesses Reagan in The Exorcist. And then, quite ironically, very famously, we had a problem with angels, if you can believe that.
They have taken the blue box, haven't they? The angels have the phone box.
But no matter if it gets possessed, hijacked, or misplaced, and it gets misplaced a lot, the TARDIS always finds its way back to the Doctor. I would like to take a brief intermission and say something to my very best friend, who I know is watching this. Joe, stop rolling your eyes. Doctor Who is cool and you know it. For everyone else watching, I apologize for that. It had to be done. For me, there are a couple all-important things in regards to HQs. A secluded area, known by few. The TARDIS checks off these boxes, and more than a dozen others. With but not limited to, simple snap entrance, telepathic interface, swimming pool, plenty of rooms for storage, wardrobes, and sleep. It's the Swiss Army knife of headquarters. Right here on this list, and across fandom, there are a lot of heroes who spend a lot of time in their respective headquarters. They draw up battle plans to stop villains, they design new gadgets, they train. Unless they have a sidekick, they do all of that stuff alone. And then it becomes less of a headquarters and more of a tomb. There's really only one hero who had enough foresight to do what was right by every single person walking the planet and open the doors to his HQ. He wanted to give the world a very specific solution to a very tragic problem. He sought to teach understanding and compassion because he believed it would lead to unity. Any guesses to who I'm talking about? Michael, you're educated, do you know? Keith, how about you? You're probably wearing one of his shirts right now. If you can't figure it out by now, that character is Professor Charles Xavier. He teaches future generations to control their mutant powers and protect a world that fears and hates them. His dream, like his school for gifted youngsters, is a thing of beauty. I really hope Marvel Studios gets it right where Fox didn't. The X-Mansion has almost its own personality, a combination of all the cool stuff inside of it under one roof. In some ways, the Xavier Institute is like every exclusive private school, from its basketball court, living quarters, kitchen, and an extensive library. Except that underneath that basketball court, there's an aircraft hangar that houses the Blackbird. From living quarters to kitchen to that library, the whole building is automated via a central computer. You're gonna have to try real hard to make me believe that it wasn't the inspiration for Siri or Alexa. The computer system allows for communications between occupants, on-the-spot security breach information, and medical and research lab updates. And then there's the really cool stuff on the subterranean levels, like the War Room. It's where the X-Men meet to plan out missions based on threat level and which combination of the team would be most effective. Cerebro is down there as well, which if you don't know is a computer interface that allows Professor X to communicate with mutants all over the world. All of those things are exciting and all, but I always thought the coolest thing in the X-Mansion was the Danger Room. It's where the X-Men train against robots and hard light projections under the supervision of Professor X. This is where they learn to be a team. As if any of this wasn't cool enough, I have one last reason why the X-Mansion is my favorite HQ. This is the place, the one place Wolverine chooses to call home. Enough said. Whether you love, hate, or think I left something off the list, let me know in the comments.